Okay, well, today is a real special episode because magicians have accumulated a lot of stuff. And
Crap.
yeah, there you go. And so
Say
I
it,
get
man.
the privilege of introducing
Uh,
someone who's probably the most OCD sorter of anyone I know, and I would put myself as a OCD person as well. So Peter, Manny, welcome. This isn't your first time to the podcast, but just so everybody knows, I've known you for a long time. You've been a
Hey.
full-time pro for, well, how many years?
40. Well, not counting last year because nobody was a full-time pro last year.
Yeah.
It's been 45 years or something like that. Yeah.
Uh,
I'm almost 61. I'll be 61 this year, and I started technically when I was 7, and then started it up again when I was like 14. So you guys do the math.
Yeah, that's so you've been doing magic for a long time. You, of anybody, should know some little inside secrets about this stuff. Let me ask you, have you always been like when we go back 40 years, did you have this level of organization with your show and your stuff then?
Yeah, as much as I can remember, yeah, I probably did, because you would, you accumulate so much stuff when you're learning magic. You say, I want to learn this, I want to learn this, and then when you want to practice something, you have to go find the damn thing. But I think there's a little bit of a possessive nature. I was technically an only child. My sister was a generation older than I am. So I was by myself, but I there was still this is mine. I want to keep it. I want to know where it is. There's that. It's not hoarding. It's just it's the old I don't want to share it with anybody kind of mentality when you take it to school or something like that. So it just bled over into
Hmm.
into here. And I'm a minimalist anyway. Yeah, you can tell by back here. Look, I got all this crap back here, but this is all itemized,
Yeah.
like specific stuff in specific places. So
Well, and that's this is what's so interesting is because you really do have a great system for this. We'll talk about with everybody here. In fact, if you're listening on the podcast, we've got a new YouTube channel as well. So some of this you may find useful to pop onto YouTube. We'll see. But do know that as a resource. But Peter, just before we get into, tell everybody like just about what kind of magic it is that you do, so like everyone gets kind of an understanding of the services you offer as a pro.
well, currently I do 3 types of shows. I do I do a corporate stand-up show, an adult stand-up show. I do a kids stand-up show, and I do close up. I spent 35 years working in restaurants, so I can walk in and do close up. Although currently there's no call for close up because you can't touch anybody, you can't get anywhere near anybody. But that those are the 3 kind of things that I do. But I used to do. I used to do illusions like you. I had a full evening illusion show with a dozen boxes in the show, and I've done dove work. I've done, pretty much. I've toured with a hypnotist, mentalist, so I've done pretty much everything. But being older now, I don't want to cart all that crap around anymore. So, I don't want to
Yeah.
cart around the boxes anymore. So I got rid of them all.
Yeah, Max Maven's nothing is inspiration, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Give me a pad of Post-it notes, and I can do an hour.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so let's dive into some of this because people get a good idea now. Like you offer shows pretty much across the board, from
Yeah. I mean,
restaurant
I can
close up
do.
to
Yeah, and what this all kind of how this all started, and it's been obsessive of mine. That this idea of organization has been obsessive of mine almost from the beginning. But I can say probably in the last 10 years or so, because my whole outlook and my career shifted at that point about 10 years ago, because I moved 10 years ago, and I wasn't bringing all the boxes with me. I didn't want to do that. So I got rid of them all, which means I couldn't do the big stuff. I had to do the small stuff. Now, when you have done and still do illusions, hopefully, you never know. When you have a like a cutting in half, there's always the little parts box, right? And you put the parts for that illusion in that box. You don't put all the parts for all the illusions in one big box and go to it and try and dig it out, right? Because you'll lose stuff, it'll all get messed up. So that's kind of where it started. I read a book. I grew up on the Paul Osborne stuff, and that was part of his mantra, was putting all that stuff in, plus all the tools to assemble the prop in the illusion, even though you carry a separate toolbox with you just in case. So when I got rid of all the big stuff, now it got to be, if it doesn't fly free or go in my carry-on, I don't take it. That was kind of the direction I was leading. And so I started building cases that were smaller and all the stuff. But then I had to start to figure out how to get all the stuff in that. So that kind of dictated how it was going to work. Now, when if you just throw everything in your case, everything gets jumbled around and, you can't find it. And then when you go to a show, you can't just open up your case and go, all right, where the hell's that thumb tip? You got to put it in, you got to put it in one particular place. And then I started to work backwards and say, okay, how am I going to cart this stuff around? And then it started to get into my filing system. And if you can't see it here, but if you look in my closet, it's all, it's all cubby holes. That's what it's, big cubby holes. And one big cubby hole is for my stand-up show. And then another cubby hole is for my kids show. And my close-up is small enough I can keep it in the case. But in the case, everything has got its particular spot, right? So I can easily go right in and grab it. So that's how it all got started.
And this is a crucial and critical part of this little system that you've got going, is that when you know that you've got a show, you can grab the routines that you want, and everything is included in that routine, ready, set, good to go. So
yep.
Could you sort of talk about that?
Yeah, because when I come home, I don't leave it in the case, because I have one case that I use for all the shows. My case actually has my sound system built into it. So if I do a corporate show, I got to put all the corporate crap in that case. But then if immediately, in 2 hours, if I have to do a kid show, I got to take it all out and put all my kid show stuff in the same case. So I have to file it away. I got to put it away. And about 20 years ago, I'm going to say, I forgot about a show. I was off doing something. I don't remember what it was. And my wife phoned me and said, Jim just called and he was wondering where you were. Oh. Crap. I forgot about it. And This is a guy who was instrumental in my career. He booked me for a lot, and he wasn't an agent. He was a client, but he booked me for a lot. And I went, oh crap. I completely forgot about the show, but I was 20 minutes away from my house. Okay. So I had to drive home, load the shit, shower, and shave, right? There's your PG-13 warning. Shit, shower, and shave, and then load the car, and then drive another couple of, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to go do the show. Well, I said to my wife, okay, I want this, and this, and this. And she went to the closet, and everything is labeled.
Wow.
So she went, yep. I said, throw it in the case. Don't worry about it. Just throw it in the case. And in a lot of cases, a lot of times the shows, the tricks are all set up, ready to go again in most cases. But still, I knew that I had everything I needed for that one particular trick in there, because I've shown up at shows where, you go, all right, where's that thumb tip? Oh, crap. And you can't do the trick. I showed up one time. I was doing a theater gig, and I got there. I was now granted, my mind was someplace else. My father had just passed away, but I still had to do the gig. So I drove and did the gig. This is a whole other story in itself. This is great for one of our friends' podcasts, for Chris's podcast. But I drove. I set up. It was in a theater. It was for 12 people. It was a waste of time. Wow. 12 people in the audience. We had other issues going on, but my mind obviously wasn't there because my dad had just died, and his funeral was right after the show. That's how we planned it. So I got there and I forgot the prop.
Oh wow! I
forgot a prop, so I had to take 10 minutes out of my show because I forgot one crucial prop. Right. So and it was a big box, but I just forgot to load it. So that's why I'm obsessive with trying to put all this stuff together. That's why it has to be that way. Plus, I'm 60. I forget shit. you know.
Why make it harder for yourself? What
That's
you're doing
right,
makes
you
it so
know.
perfect. Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
Yeah, I worked backstage with you, and you're like, "Where is the you forget stuff?"
Absolutely.
You're thinking about other stuff, and you're
Oh
thinking
my
about the
gosh.
show. You can't be worried about, that your thing is going to be where where you packed it. It just has to be.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah.
So walk us through then. You add, let's say you've got a new routine you want to add to your show. You
Okay. Well,
like
it's
this particular thing. What do
pretty
you do?
straightforward. I will. I actually didn't grab it out, which I should have. But let me see if I give you. Where have I got one here? All right, hang on. Hang on. I will find it. Just a sec here. You see, it's all alphabetized. It's all ready to go. Right.
I made an Amazon purchase just for this podcast because I wanted to show you something that may or may not have some value for you and for our listeners. I think it's great. But
Oh, there you go.
I'll show you that as well.
All
Okay,
right.
you've got your thing.
I just bought. I'll give you. I got my thing here. Okay. I just this is not a promotional thing, but I bought airplane mode. Love the trick. It's a brand new thing that came out last year, but it comes in a nice big envelope, nice big box. Looks really, really nice. So I bought it, and the first thing I did was I took everything out, and then I also took the front, cut this to be fileable, because
this being the
everything I
instructions.
have.
This being the instructions.
This is just the card, but on the card gives me the link to the video instructions, which is another thing. If the video instructions are online, I download them, because 10 years from now, if you want to come back to this trick, that person might be out of business, right? Which means all their links are gone. You don't know this. So I do my damnedest to download the video instructions. I have permission to go and watch them, but I try and download them. I probably shouldn't say that to the people who put them online, but it's like getting a DVD in the mail. So, and then I file it. Here's, I just, acrobatic knot, Daryl's old thing. But you see, I've got it all listed, where it is and all that, et cetera, et cetera.
You're holding a piece of paper that's like a half sheet, and it's got the name of the effect.
Basically a recipe card.
Yep.
Right. It's basically a recipe card, but I've just, it's card stock. I have a database. I put all this stuff in a database, so I can actually go through, and if I want to do a new show, I can go, okay, that one works. That trick doesn't work. That works. And then I print them all out, and I sit there, and in my mind, I'm going through, how to piece the show together, because we all have 100 tricks that we can do, but we can't remember 50 of them. We can't remember that you have that 51st trick that works really well. So
makes sense. And on the back, this card basically tells you everything you need in to
and it also on the back is the reference to the instructions, right? Yep. If I have to do it, but I've downloaded them anyway, right? So and this goes in a massive file folder, okay? And I've got 3 of these with all the tricks, all alphabetized, so I can find them. Then I found, originally what I was doing was I was putting everything in, pencil cases, which I thought was a cool idea. I found these at a Walmart, right? They're rubberized on the inside, so if they get wet, doesn't matter. Stuff inside's really good. They're durable as all hell. And I buy the bright colors so I can write what it is on the front of it, so I can easily pull it out and know that it's there. Now this is a while back, but I even went so far as to color code it. So all of my adult tricks were in red. All my kid tricks were in green. So again, it's just so that it's a quick visual look to see that I'm on the right track. Okay. Now I had a lot of trouble getting these guys in different sizes. So I switched, and this is probably what your link was. I found on Amazon, I was kicking around on Amazon, and I found this package of really cool envelopes for like $20. I can't remember. But
this is amazing. And so what you're holding is basically an assortment of see-through envelopes that are and plastic, right?
Yep. These guys here are phenomenal. They're I think they were designed as courier envelopes. I don't know, but these things are a netted plastic. Again, for the listeners, it's a heavy duty. It's not a Ziploc bag. It's heavier than Ziploc. Like this stuff is quite strong, but it's see through, and it has a sort of a hexagonal. It's not clear. It's got a hash on the front of it, which adds to strength. But there's a cloth zipper on the top, and what's the beautiful thing is that these things are universal, so you can get literally dozens of different combination packs. I've gotten, like 12 of them all the same size, but the one I started with, it came with 18 of them, all the way down to I'm going to say even smaller, like the parlor size cards fit in the second smallest one. The Phoenix parlor size cards fit in the second smallest one. Then there's one smaller, and then the biggest one I think will fit. Oh God, I want to say 12 by 18. It's
quite large,
huge.
yeah.
It's huge. It's bigger than you'd be able to carry on in your carry-on luggage flat, but that doesn't matter. And you get like 5 of them in each, 5 of each.
Yep.
So I said, all right, this is cheap enough. So I threw out all my old cases and got all these brand new ones. And, the beauty of this is, again, you guys can't see it on the podcast, but on the other one, I use my newspaper tear. I've got like 30 of them in there folded, ready to go. It's, I can write on it in Sharpie marker. It will rub off. I can clean it off and reuse it again, but everything fits in there. And at a glance, I can see I've got the newspaper. I've got my glue to put it together. And then because I do a different one, a different newspaper tear, I even have a smaller one inside it, clear, so I can look through and see that I'm ready to go.
Mind blowing.
Yeah, I'm obsessive with this, as you can tell.
These envelopes alone are worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, they are.
And they're inexpensive. You said
I'm glad I found them.
$20 and you get 5 or so different assorted sizes and things. You can find any size.
Well, yeah, but you'll get. Yeah, I can't look it up now. You'll put the link in the podcast. Yeah. I'm sure. I'll send it to you. But once I found these things, I thought they were fantastic, and they're cheap enough that if it breaks, throw it out and buy a new one.
Right.
It's that cheap, and it's the uniformity. The only thing I can't do is color code, but that really doesn't matter because you can put a nice big bright piece of colored tape on the front of it. So if you ever have to do that, you color code it. Another thing that makes this really, really, a system like this with everything in an envelope, it harkens back to what my wife did for me when I forgot that show. Let's say you show up, and illusionists are used to doing this a lot, but they will color code their cases, right? And the green ones go backstage, the red ones go front of house, the black ones go, back of the theater, whatever, and that's not meant for you. That's meant for your roadies. So if you start with this kind of a thing that's easily labeled and you could possibly color code them and everything is inside the envelope, but when you get there, you can say to your assistant, your wife, a roadie, whoever it is, you say, I want all the blue envelopes, right? Or get me the one that's labeled 5 card. And there's no mistake. And that when they bring it to you, everything is inside it. And then when you're done with it, storage is really easy for you.
It's so smart. It's so smart. It makes your life easier. And that right before a show and in that show process is so critical, because the last thing you want to be doing is focusing on where you should get scissors and you got 5 minutes to the show kind of a thing. Whereas in your approach, if your routine needs scissors, they're in the envelope, right?
Yeah, you know exactly where they are. And sometimes, and this has happened a couple of times when I've just something slipped my mind. I got lazy in the last couple of years, and I wouldn't pack down the show and put it back in the envelopes. At the end of the show, I just throw everything in the case, come home, and in the morning do that. But in the morning I can have a nice coffee and I can slowly go through and fix stuff that has to be fixed. But I have actually gotten to shows where I've missed that critical piece of like a pair of scissors when I'm doing a cut and restored routine. I go, I'm going to now do a cut and restored routine. No, I'm not, because there's not a pair of scissors there. Okay. But this is an interesting thing. Sometimes you forget to take it out of the envelope and put it in your case sometimes. Well, I've gone, hold on. And I've run backstage to the dressing room and got my pair of scissors because I know where it is. Or sometimes you have two routines in the show that you need a pair of scissors for. One is a pair of scissors for use on stage. Another one is a pair of scissors for use in preparing the trick. Okay.
Right.
Well, in my system, you've got two pairs of scissors you're traveling with because you're bringing both routines. Okay.
Right.
So you go, oh crap. I don't know. My kid took my pair of scissors out of my cut and restored rope routine envelope. Damn kid. But I have another pair of scissors in my newspaper tear. I will go get that. So it's obsessive, but at least you're covered. So, and it's like you said, you don't have to think about and worry about this shit on the drive. You don't have to worry about it backstage because, your mind can be focused on the audience. Your mind can be focused on doing the show and all that stuff.
And that is so crucial. And like, if you were to ask a professional magician, what is the difference between a pro and an amateur, it would at some level be the things that they don't worry about.
Yeah. Yep,
they know they can walk on stage and they know their material. They know they can be confident. They know they've got the things that they need. And having that reassurance with the way you do this makes a lot of sense for removing any of that stress. That's
I think a lot of it too. You're being your own stage manager. That's part of a stage manager's job in theater, is to make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. That the props master is laying out all the props properly. A lot of it is combining those roles at the same time. And then when the show's over, the stage manager has to make sure that the costumes all go back where they're supposed to go and all the props go back where they're supposed to go. And, they're the OCD organizer of the theater world. So this is my way of being my own stage manager so that I don't have to worry about it. I mean, as well, because I've worked with you when it's happened.
Tons, yep.
Where, in my case, I'm not as complicated as you. I don't have video. I don't have a lot of lighting or anything like that, but I do have audio. And if an audio cue messes up, my brain is just not there. Right. Because not only do I have to compensate for not getting my audio cue, which throws my timing off, now I've got to start thinking about how I'm going to get back into the show and work without that audio cue and whatnot. And you get, I've been mean to technical directors, unfortunately. And you've yelled at me. I get it. I understand that. But this organizational system helps me so that I don't have to worry about that. So that, you've never yelled at me.
That doesn't happen. Not. Yeah. It's so funny how, and this is one little takeaway we should sort of add to this, because nothing's perfect. For as much planning as we can all take to our considerations, there's always things that throw us off completely, for sure. Anyways, let me just make sure I've got this right, because it sounds like you've got sort of three things at bay here. One is you've got a computer database of sorts, like a spreadsheet.
Well, I do. I use Excel, and I also use Access. Access is way too complicated for what I need, but it's what I started with. So, but I use both just to organize my stuff by category, and it helps me select routines.
So are those categories of your show types? Gotcha.
Well, what I actually have a number of databases. I use, hang on. Well, I'll give you a quick rundown. I got to change glasses here because I can't read. I have stand up. I have a style, which would be stand up, close up, kids that kind of, or stage, like stage, parlor, and close up. What audience it's for. Now, these are categories, right? These are what's the word? Fields.
Yep.
I have a type of routine, rope, cards, mentalism, et cetera, et cetera. I have a bunch of other stuff here. I wrote down price just because I wanted to keep track of it, but I never fill in a price. I want to go, 20 years ago, this trick cost me $10. Right. I don't care anymore. Another big thing I put on here too, again, because I'll forget, and I got to know where this stuff is, under the notes. If I find a routine that I like in some person's lecture notes, or whatever. By the way, the lecture notes, if they're small, I scan them all into my computer. I don't put them in the, I don't, I PDF them because they're easier to search on a computer than they are to search, going page by page. That's the beauty of Genie now, right? It's now all online and you can search through and find stuff, and it's all indexed. But I'll make a reference to Tarbell in that, the notes part. If that's where the trick came from, I got to know, because
So
it'll
the
be
card,
Go
so the
ahead.
card is a reminder for you, basically.
Yeah. And the
giving
instructions
notes.
are, if the instructions come with it, as an example, like, well, here's one I haven't done the trick in years, but A Dream of Aces, right? Which is the Gary Roulette's version of McDonald Aces. Well, I have his behind this card. It's in an envelope, but behind the card is a DVD from World's Greatest Magic of it, McDonald Aces, the original routine, and the book of Gary Roulette's routine. It's all as a unit ready to go. The only thing not in here are the cards.
Right.
They're in another envelope in my closet. So.
And is that in your close-up show area?
No, it's not in the close-up show, but it was at one time.
Gotcha.
So I saved it, right? I could, with a week's, refresher course, put it back in the show. Right. But I've gone through all this stuff, and that's another thing I did during the pandemic, to be totally organized. I went through all of my stuff, and when am I ever going to do this again? Nope. Threw it out. Didn't, or if it was props.
I was going to get to that question. If you have 40 years worth of magic stored.
No. Because again, the pandemic and my style and I don't have illusions anymore. So why would I keep all the instructions and all that, all that stuff for the illusions? Because I'll never do a cut. Well, I won't say never, but I used to do metamorphosis. I will never do metamorphosis again. Physically, this body can't do it. Okay. So I'm not even going to bother. So, the music goes in the trash, all this, and I sold the prop off and all that stuff. But with the smaller stuff, you and I, we've developed our character. We know what works for us. So when you pull out a routine and you go, am I ever going to do that routine ever again? No, it's probably not going to happen. So, and a lot of it is culled from books anyway. So I go, I don't want it. I want to pare this down. It's not going to fit my style, or it's too cumbersome to travel with, or it doesn't fit in the case. I can't fly free with it is another example. So I toss it out, or sell it on one of the auction sites or something like that, or give it away to one of my friends who could possibly use it. And I've done that repeatedly during the pandemic, because as it gets further along, I realize probably what I'm going to be doing. And I really want to get rid of the deadwood in my act. It's hard to do. It really is hard to do, because a lot of these guys are but what if, there is no what if,
I, the hoarder in me, can't get rid of magic shit. I don't know. I can't get rid of stuff yet. In fact, I'm envious of your decision-making on that, because like a couple of years ago, I threw out a ton of old magazines, and I love reading. I love flipping through magic stuff. So I regret doing that. I still have tons of old magazines, for example, but I threw out some of them before I even I don't know. Now I have a different value for that history, and so I was really upset with myself. So I punished myself on the hoarder side. Okay, so let me. Okay, so you've got a computer system that's basically so you can you know what you've got basically, and you've got a envelope/filing system for.
Well, I've got the recipe card filing system, which is the hard copy that the manufacturer sends me. Right. The guy who creates the trick, they send to you when you buy the thing. It's got the hard copy, got to put that somewhere. And I'm a touchy feely guy too. I don't like printing out lists and going, nope. Sometimes I like to take all the file and just go, make piles and go, I want this one. I want that. Sometimes that's much more fun. And then the third system. Yeah. And then I know where you're going. My third, step is this, right? Which is the actual hard copy trick in the envelope.
Yep.
Another thing that your listeners might even be even more obsessive. If I'm doing newspaper tear routinely, I don't right now, but as an example, If it's in my kids show and my adult show, it isn't. But if it is, I will create 2 of these.
Wow.
Okay. That seems really obsessive, but I make 2 of these, and
I
one
applaud
goes in
you.
with the adult one and one goes in with the kids one. So
It
that
makes so much sense.
yeah. And of course, for this one, it's cheap to do. If you're doing, if you're doing a cutting in half, you don't want to buy 2 of them. Although a lot of guys do have backup versions of their illusions. But I've done this with a lot of stuff. I've got like 2 or 3 versions of my 5-card repeat because I do it a lot. I do it in both shows, and it's just because I don't want to forget, and have to stall for 10 minutes in my show when I don't have that routine with me. So
It makes sense. And I could talk to you about pretty much any aspect of the business because you've been in it so long. I could chat with you about it, like the actual marketing stuff, which we'll keep for another time. But
yeah.
just like there's endless questions I could ask of you. If you don't mind, would you sort of chat about your cases for the show? Because you have done some really unique tinkering with your cases.
Yeah, I wish I could take the camera and
Well,
show
I tell you
you.
what, we'll do that at the end. We'll capture a video at the end. So unless
Okay.
you want, are you able to do it? Because we could do it now or at the end.
Not easily. This thing's
Talk about it.
mounted.
Okay.
I mean, I could log in with my phone and show you, but
Tell it. Well,
no,
just tell
my
everybody.
cases. Yeah, my cases are. I'm very proud of my one big case. I've got a flying case too, but my one big case will fly with current checked baggage restrictions because I made it that way. It's a imagine a Leffler case. Okay, everybody knows the Leffler style of case where the top kind of flips up. Okay, and the top when you open it up, it creates a cubby hole with a top.
Right. So
Okay?
it's like a
That's
table.
the Leffler style of key. Yeah, well, imagine a box, and then you take cardboard box. Imagine a big box. I know these guys listening; they'll know what a Leffler table is. It's probably the most popular magic table out there,
Right.
and carry on or wheel on stage case there is. What I did, I love the idea of Leffler case. I kind of built one years ago when I was building my own stuff. Well, I was building. I haven't stopped building my own stuff. Oh, be quiet. My phone's going nuts. But the problem with the Leffler case for me was I can't, if my case is off to the side, I can't just glance at it and see inside because the Leffler case has a side barrier and the entire side of it becomes the top.
Right.
You got to go behind it and stick your head in and try and find stuff. And I didn't like that idea. So I just basically cut off the lid portion of it. And now the lid just folds up and becomes the front. And I've got a little ledge on top. But what's key is that I can look right down into my case and see what's there. I can reach down into the case and grab what I want. And that's how I started to construct it. So then I went to thinking, okay, what other benefits or what other things do I need for organization in there? And my thing, again, I got to make sure I have all the props exactly where I want them. So I'm not hunting through. I want to be able to just reach in and take it like an assistant is going to, come behind you and hand you your thing. I just want to reach in and take what I need. And I got to know where it is. So how I had to find pockets and different things to hold that kind of stuff. I could make them, but 3D printing at the time wasn't as big as it is now. So I started to search and I came up with a whole bunch of stuff. If you go to the dollar store, you can get like bicycle saddlebags, little tiny saddlebags that are meant for the side of your bike to throw tools and snacks or whatever in. Okay, well, they're just perfect for decks of cards. You fit like 3 or 4 decks of cards in these things, and I put a piece of Velcro on the back of it. And now it's a leatherette kind of pocket. And the entire inside of my case is the opposite side of the Velcro, the fuzzy stuff. And these things just get Velcroed on the side. And if I don't like the arrangement, peel it off, put it in a different spot.
Great.
Yeah. If you look at another envelope idea was the remote control saddlebag, or I don't know what they call them, but the over the armchair thingies that you could buy that hold your remote control and your magazines and all that stuff. We used to have, I don't know, snacks and all that crap. Anyway, they go over the armchair. right? And one side's a pocket, and the other side's 3 pockets, or sometimes 4. You take that thing, you slice it in half, hem up the edge of it, put a piece of Velcro on it. Now you've got a 4-pocket thing that fits rope and scissors and all that kind of stuff. But the bonus is that it also fits magazines, which means it fits all of the 8.5 by 11 pieces of cardboard and paper and predictions and envelopes and all that stuff fits and it holds it in place, right?
And if you're listening and you want to see a visual of this, we'll leave a link in
at the end,
episode description, so you can pop over to the YouTube channel and
I'll show you in the video. But everything is all lined in Velcro. It all sticks. It all gets moved around until I'm happy with what I like. And that's been a never-ending battle to try and find the right kind of things to organize. I'll give you one other little quick tip, because we're not running out of time, because this goes for as long as you need. But one other really cool tip is, the music industry is notorious for coming up with really cool little pieces of hardware and stuff for helping out musicians. But what's really cool is they can also help out magicians. You can get little tables. You don't have to buy a table with a table stand, that has the old Eureka table base and all that stuff. If you get yourself a piece of black plastic, and you go to a music store and you get a table-mounted mic stand flange that you screw a mic stand onto on the table, with a bbig gooseneck. You buy one of those. You put it on the bottom of a piece of plastic, which is lightweight, because you don't need a heavyweight table unless you're putting, an elephant on it. But now you've got a table that'll screw onto any mic stand in any venue that you go into. And you don't have to carry a mic stand with you. Then you get headphone hangers. It's a little thing with a thumb screw on the end of it, fits onto a mic stand. And it's just an L-shaped piece of whatever. Now you've got something to hang something on, like rope, or a bag, or your dump bucket, if you have a dump bucket, or something like that screws onto a mic stand. Plus, they're steel, which means they're magnetic, which means now you can stick anything like, I don't know, if you want to mount you put a magnet on your prediction envelope, and now it'll stick to this thing on the mic stand. They also make tables that clamp onto mic stands. They make drink holders that clamp onto mic stands. So now anything that's round, that is the size of a large bottle of water in your act, will now rest on a mic stand. Take all the little pieces of hardware off. You leave the mic stand behind, because it's in every venue, and you're laughing. It's an easy way of organizing your stuff when you're on stage, right? It's what I do anyway.
That's great.
The only thing you got to worry about when you...
Such a great idea.
Yeah, well, when a couple of years ago, I was heading up north to do a show, and I had to fly in with all my stuff. I was heading up way up north in Canada, and I realized, I told the guy, so he asked me what I needed, and I said, okay, I'm bringing everything I need. I just need 2 mic stands, and that's it. These tabletops were flat. They packed. They just slid them down in my luggage. And when I got there, screw them on. Now I got 2 tables. And they will adjust to, any height that a mic stand will adjust to, right? And then I just unscrew them and take them home, leave the mic stands. So it's great.
That is so great. You also, in terms of your cases, you also have your audio system.
Yeah, that's a brand new thing for me. I realized that my case, the new one that I built, is actually 19 inches wide. Well, it's actually 20, because the carry-on, or rather the checked luggage size, one of the sizes is 20 inches. It's actually linear inches. You know that. I mean, you can have a really long case and it's really skinny, and it still will check for $25 an airline. But my case was 20 inches, which meant the inside dimension was 19, which is rack size.
Right.
If you don't know what rack size is, it's a standard size that all the rock and roll guys use. That's 19 inches wide. I don't know why it's 19. It just became 19 inches. So if you build a rack, you can put it in any box that is designed to hold a rack, and it's expandable and everything. So I realized that the inside of my case was 19 inches, and where the doorway, you'll see it in the video, the doorway that I open up was actually about 2 inches deep. maybe 2.5 inches deep, which is a 1 rack size depth.
Right.
Okay. Like it's 19 by 2 inches. And I went, wow. So I redid all my audio equipment, and it now fits in this rack. It doesn't go horizontal, it goes vertical.
Right.
So I look down on it. And I did a couple of internet searches. You know, I Googled it and found the mic, my wireless mic receiver that fits in the rack.
Right.
I found a mixer for about $300 that fits in there. And then I was able to put all the other stuff in behind, like the wireless remote control and all that stuff in behind, because it didn't matter. So now when I go to a show, the audio guy at the show says, I bring my own audio anyway, my own speakers. But if I'm working a big theater and he says, what do you need? I say, I need 1/4 inch plug into your system. That's awesome. It. He gives me the cable. I plug it into my stuff, and I'm in control of it from my case. Totally. You know, I can set my volumes. I can turn myself on and off. The audio guy just walks away. Once he's set the master volume, he can just leave. And again, that's the stage management control OCD aspect of what I do.
But it's essential. Yep, sorry.
Well, no, it's essential for me, right? It may not be for other people, but for me, I have a real hard time giving over that part of my show to someone who hasn't rehearsed it over and over again. You know, you're probably, I know you're the same way.
Well, here's the other thing. I'll just button my point. I will go on and on. I was about to say that every magician should be just as obsessed as you're explaining here. And then I say that, and like, I see some things I need to improve on, but I will tell you, I have always muted myself, learned where the mute button was on my microphone, for the same reason. I don't want anyone ever I don't want to ever not be able to talk to the person on stage.
Yes.
Without it going through the speakers. I want to be able to mute myself. And I am stunned how many magicians don't know how to, like, have never worked in the mute button, for example, into their show. Anyways, I won't go on and on about it, but my mentor, who taught me the art of cold cueing, which is an amazing little gift for on-stage performances that you cannot do if you don't know how to mute yourself. So anyways, I didn't mean to go on that tangent, but
I love stuff like this. You know, Blackstone, I will button your button with a thing saying that Blackstone Jr., he had a custom design. His suit was completely custom designed, and he had, I'm going to guess, no less than 6 mute buttons on that suit. It was all custom. It was custom designed. He had them everywhere. Okay.
I had no idea.
That might be a bit obsessive, but he had a number of mute buttons built into this coat, his suit, and probably his pants too, because if you've ever seen his committee routine, he cold cued like a bastard, and it's a brilliant routine. Okay. But he had to turn around and mute, cold cue, bring it right back on. And the audience thought the microphone was on the entire time. It was a brilliant audio choreography. And he had it all built in. You know, my thing was when I got into using music, I had to have music cues at a, exactly the right time. So I would have a technical person do it, who I would hire and come in and do it, and they'd mess up, and because they're not into it as much as I was. So I worked on trying to get that away from me. Plus, it's also what you're saying, what you're doing, and you want to be able to go, here's the joke, punchline, tag. You want to be able to do that with, tag it with your music right away, and your timing changes as you go along. And unless the guy's in sync with you, And then I put my own audio system together and made it so I could control it, because and you've done this too. You have shown up at venues where the audio system was built by Radio Shack. And it sounds like you're playing a symphony with a kazoo. It's garbage. So that I always bring, the best speakers I have available to me. And if I don't need them and I can plug it in, at least I can start taking, things out, but I'm in control. It's that OCD aspect of controlling the music, the mic, the volumes, even down to I always bring a second microphone for I wear a headset like you do, but I always bring a handheld microphone. It's a backup in case the headset goes. I have a backup wired microphone that I can plug in just in case the whole wireless system breaks down. But the guy who's going to introduce me, I don't want him to use the house system. I want him to use my system. So I hand him my mic, my control, my volume level, and it's also nowadays I can control its sanitization.
Sure.
You know, I gave a guy my microphone one time. I handed it to him, and he said, "Can I make an announcement?" And I went, "Yeah, sure, not a problem." So I handed him my microphone. This is 3 or 4 years ago. Handed him my microphone, and the second that he put it to, to make an announcement, he went right into my microphone. Not the same one that I was using, but this is the handheld that I was giving, my volunteers, getting their answers, right? And I went, crap. But what do you do? He's the client. So, and you can't wipe it off because now the germs have gone inside. So I bought a sanitizer for it, but that's why, I never let him use my mic. I've got to be in control of all that. Because again, it's my show. It's my show, right? And if I can do all that, I take the stress away from me.
And you're probably also very much appreciated by the tech team.
Yeah, because they can go have lunch.
Yeah. I'll say I can't relate to all of the levels of organization that you have. I definitely have some like this component as well. Like I show up and the tech people don't have anything to do. And that's a big win. That's a big win.
Well, you did cruises and your rehearsal, they give you 2.5 hours in the afternoon to rehearse and you take a half an hour.
Yeah, I take a little longer because I have so much video. I'm now in the phase where I'm thinking, man, I whittled the show down after all those years to one suitcase and one overhead and anyways. And so now I just
that's great. Yeah. And that's fantastic. Man. Yeah. But you know what? That has taken, it's taken years to take all that crap and whittle it down and organize it down to its bare bones, its essence of what the magic is. All that other extraneous stuff. Well, we got to add this great light here, and you got to, well, yes, no, it depends on character, it depends on what you're doing. Video makes a big difference that way. But I don't do video, and I don't want to get involved in doing video yet. I'm still more of the stand-up kind of guy without that kind of stuff. So anyway.
Well, this is so much, gosh, so many great tips.
So much stuff, man. Yeah, I could go on let's do another one.
Yes, well, we will. We'll definitely do a business one as well. Maybe when the pandemic starts to alleviate and we can actually work.
I got my shot. You get yours?
No, I'm on the list. I haven't gotten it yet.
You're on the list, which means by the end of the year, you'll probably get a phone call saying you'll get called later. I'm sorry.
So in that time, I will be sorting my magic props.
Yeah. throw some out, man. Get rid of it. If you haven't done, well, aside from the pandemic, if you haven't done that routine in the last 5 years, you're not going to. You're moving forward. You're not going back and you're not pulling out your hippity hopper rabbit because you think it's going to be a great seller. It's not going to make your career. So, get rid of it. Really, seriously.
These are great points. Well, Peter, this has been an amazing discussion. We're going to make sure to button this podcast with a little video. So make sure to hit the description and follow the link and you can see all this stuff. Amazing, Peter. I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom and cracking this whole disorganization with magic.
Hey, not a problem. I appreciate your call. I do. We were beforehand, and I'm staring. Well, I'm staring at this again. I used to freely give out I freely give out any advice that people ask me, but I don't want to. I don't just put it out there into the universe and hope someone will pick it up. I mean, it's not. But we were talking about sort of the mantra that I've been living for the last 3 or 4, 5 years, whatever, which is staring me in the face. I've been waiting for this. It was a thing. I found it from Kevin Spacey, and then Kevin Spacey got into trouble. So I didn't tell people I got it from Kevin Spacey because they wouldn't believe me. But I did some research. The actual quote came from Jack Lemmon. And if you don't know Jack Lemmon, guys, he was Felix in the original Odd Couple. and go back to Some Like It Hot with Marilyn Monroe and Tony Curtis, because he was in that great movie. And he said his quote was, "No matter how successful you get, you always send the elevator back down." Because my thing is, I love that quote, but I love it for a couple of reasons. One, it's a duty, I think, that you should, if people come to you and they ask you for your opinion, they want your help, give it freely. It's not going to affect who you are, but if you help your fellow performers get better, then you look better as a result. Okay, because magic looks better as a result. The reason why we're coming out of it, but I think one of the reasons why magic still kind of has a bit of a cheesy feel to it. It's changing. It's definitely changing over the last decade or so. But I think part of the reason why people still have this view of it is because there are so many people out there who are not very good at what they're doing. And if we help them be better at it,
100%.
then the people who are looking at them come to our show with a different preconceived notion of what we're going to present. I think it helps everybody if we make the newbies look better and perform better, then it makes us look better as a result. So
sending the elevator down, Peter.
Sending the elevator down, man.
Thank you so much for your time today.
Not a problem.
Yeah, why don't you walk us through? Show us what you got. Show us your setup.
All righty, let's go take a tour, guys. Change my glasses. So I'll show you, first of all, the library.
Wow.
Yep, just so you can see it's all itemized, even the magazines and everything. And the other two files of my routine. So far, there's only 3 of them, but I pared it down a lot.
Wow.
And then over here is the storage locker with all the stuff. And as I was telling you on the podcast, I've actually gone so far as to put these in boxes, right? So I can just take out the whole box and that's the show. Wow. Right? So this is the adult show with all the stuff. I didn't mention this earlier in the podcast, but let me pull this out here. This is a travel bag. This is one of those clothing travel bags that yep. the cubes that you fold up your underwear and put in, and then you throw in your luggage. Well, they're just perfect for bulkier items that don't fit in an envelope. But again, so you can see it in the top, right? They're like $3 at a dollar store.
Nice.
Yeah. So all this, it's all set aside, itemized, and
wow.
And then the technical stuff. Now you wanted to see the case, which I'm really proud of.
That's great.
Let me get this in the light. There we go. And you can see, as I was telling earlier, this is one of those, this is actually a back seat organizer that I got, like a back seat for kids' toys and stuff and whatnot in the car. But this fits anything flat, big envelope, big pockets here. This is one of those remote envelopes that I was telling you about, right, etc. Even up here in the lid. These are the bicycle things that I told you about, right? And inside here, I even have a fold-up coat hanger. How organized is that, right? So I got to hang up my coat, right, or my jacket. Right. But again, the other beauty thing about this organization is that all the routines are in these pockets. Yep. So this entire thing becomes a dump bucket, right? When I'm done with a prop, you just go, like, I take it from here, right? When I'm done with it, you just drop it in there. That's and great. It doesn't affect anything else. This all becomes the garbage area.
That's great.
And then when you're done, then you close it up and you can leave if you have to.
Awesome.
Right. And yeah, but again, I wanted also to be able to see down into it. And then you're asking me about my audio. That's the rack.
That's so cool.
Yep. That's the wireless microphone setup. This is a special one because it's a headset and a handheld on 2 different frequencies, so they don't compete with each other. but it's in one unit. And then a powerful 4 or 5 channel mixer, so I can control the volume. This is where I keep stuff, right? But this is a rack. This is a steel rack that just mounts vertically. All the wiring is inside it. My iPod remote control, and then down here is where I plug everything in. So I've got 2 audio outs in case one goes to a monitor, one goes to the main. AC plugs in here, and then again more pockets to hold things like microphone, cabling, and all that. And this whole thing closes up and can fly because it's a road case. Yeah.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And my speaker is right there, and it comes out. It comes out, right? And I set it up, and then when I'm done, that's big enough for a corporate audience of 100 people.
What do you say the value is in, without the tricks, obviously? What's sort of the value in all that?
I'm guessing. Well, the most expensive thing in here is the MediaStar Pro remote. There, it's like $900 Canadian. But if you added all this together to replace it all, it's going to be $2,000 or $3,000. Because these aren't cheap. The microphone system is a few $100s. That's 3. I've got an E6 microphone in here, and they're not cheap.
No,
it's an iPad. This is an iPad Mini, which is $500. So it adds up.
It sure does. But what a priceless setup you've got.
Yeah,
that is truly.
Give you one other quick thing. You can edit. You can edit if you want. But my carry-on case is even more. The same material, right?
Wow.
But what I've done, this is what I was telling you earlier. This is the plastic road case stuff, new road case stuff I got with a mic stand. So this just goes on to any mic stand you want. But I've got a whole other audio system inside here. I took out the iPad because I'm using it for the podcast, but I took out the iPad here. And then this side fits Magic. And then up here, again, more Magic. But this flies as carry-on. I don't have to check this. So this flies free. And one of my, there's my dog. One of my, what do you call it? Thing is, if I'm going anywhere, I don't want to check my show. If I can help it, I don't want to check my show. Because I've had it be lost. I've had it show up a day or 2 late from my, from landing, and I can't perform. So I want to carry it. Yours goes in a backpack. I can't work out of a backpack. I have to have a solid unit to work out of, but I can carry that on, and it fits under the seat in front of me. But it has all the audio ready to go. It's a different system, but I just have to plug into the on-site audio, and I'm ready to go.
That is amazing, Peter.
Okay. There you go.
An inspiration for so many. That's really great. Thank you for sharing. Let's get an update about the May edition from Paul Romani.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Thank you for this. Yeah, let's check out the May edition of Vanish. It's a really special one, actually. We have Ikatarina on the cover. Now, it's an amazing story because it's an amazing journey. She's pretty much, she immigrated with her family to Canada, I think, when she was 8, and she does everything from, she's a model, but she does cardistry, she produces magic, she reviews magic. She's really incredible, and and she's a mother. So and we've seen her grow up. This is a sort of a generation of magicians now we're seeing grow up right in front of us on social media. So she has a huge following on social media, and then we have. We're just moving along here. We have this is we have some great product highlights as well. This is Pie Revelations, just come out the other day by David Penn. Truly remarkable, something very different in the realm of book tests. We also have I want to just quickly chat about this real quick. This is a poster. I'm going to see if I can show you. I can't. It's all rolled up. But we produced a poster through Nelson Magic. Well, actually, Lupe Nelson produced this incredible canvas poster of our special edition with female magicians through the centuries. So it's available now to anyone that wants to get this incredible poster.
That's amazing.
It is. It looks. I could show you. I've got it all rolled up, but I'm going to get it framed. So here's the main.
What's the size of it? Sorry, I
okay,
didn't mean
no,
to.
no. Okay, it comes in two sizes actually. It comes in two sizes, and I have to click on here to show you because we go straight to her page. So it comes in 20 inches by 16 inches or 30 inches by 39 inches.
That's amazing.
So it is. So I'm going to get it framed, and it'll go right in the office here. So here's the cover story, of course. Lots of social media. Flawless as well. Talks about that, and then the cardistry work and her websites. And plus, don't forget that Connie Boyd did this, and we have a great. You can watch the videos here too if you want. Just click on those links, and the video interviews will come up. They're terrific. T is for transformation. This is a great article by Lance Rich, where he talks about, often magicians are years ahead of the technology, but when it comes to things like social issues, costumes, what we wear, often we're behind. So this is a great article here on this one. We've got Steve Spill doing a few series. Anything Steve has to write, we should take note. This is a great one because he's talking about creating magic, how to create magic. And I know that recently Cam right now has their competition for creators in magic. This is a great article on if you want to be original and create magic. And then Steve has his book there too. There's a link there. You can go and order one of his great books. Magical Wisdom from the McBride Mystery School. Focus on Scott Steele Fire. Again, some solid advice there for anyone that's into magic. A Hyperdoor Theory. This is great. I've been following this with Joe, and it's the most unusual thing you'll probably ever read in a magic magazine. It is magic, but it's sort of science, math, and optical illusion. It's really, really clever. And he's got this is the update of what he's done with this. So it's very unusual. The Anatomy of a Joke by Nick Lewin. This is a terrific article. If you want to dissect a joke, what goes into a joke, what makes it funny. Nick has different 5 golden rules about jokes, the law of 3. He talks about all this sort of stuff. So joke writing is something that you might recognize this. Right. Maybe you can just briefly, do you want to briefly touch on this for us real quick?
Absolutely. This was a lot of fun. This was a survey that we conducted at Magician Masterclass, and we had surveyors or magicians all over the world respond to the survey about virtual magic shows. And this was me going back to my early math days to figure out all the fun stats here and put it all together in something visual that's fun to look at. And I won't give you the key takeaways, but I will share. My surprising one was how magicians spent most of their time during the pandemic.
Wow. And of course, there's a download virtual magic. If they click on the button down here, it'll take them to the download. I'll just do that quickly.
Which is not going to work yet because I haven't posted it.
Okay. Well, when it's up and running, that's all right. But it's there anyway. This is a great thing. This is the Abominable Salt Man. This is a product highlight by Tim Wise, and I love getting stuff like this because you won't see this on the mainstream magazines, magic magazines. These reviews, I like to get things that either have just come out or they're really special. This is where you do, it's incredible because you take salt and you pour it into your hand. You can even pick up salt off a table, a salt shaker, and you create this little snowman, which you can see right there in the picture. And it's really cool, and at the end it lights up. So it's a really great, something really different from Tim Wise. And then we have, of course, some great magic tricks. We have Let's Taco About It Again by Christopher T. Magician, one of my favorite kids magicians, very well-known kids magician. He talks here, again, creativity, but then he goes into a great routine here, teaches us a routine, condimentalism, which I think is a great play on words, using mentalism for family shows. Louis Fox, Alexa's Aces, another great idea. Louis is just so far out there with his ideas. It's terrific, such a creative guy. He's been in almost every issue of Vanish, and every month he has a different effect. I don't know how he does it, but and again, if you click on here, you can watch the performance of this trick using Alexa. We're doing some online magic, and Aaron Matthews, actually from Toronto, is doing a series on really great magic specifically for online or Zoom performances. This is another great effect, and he shares his he shares a lot of things actually. It's really great. And then we have a card routine, and then we have our reviews at the end, of course. So lots of ads. We get a lot of unusual adverts too, and I always ask people to click on an ad and and help the advertisers. And our reviews now, Ryan. This is interesting because this is the latest reviews that have just come out, and look at this one, Ryan. Airlock by Ryan Joyce. Now, if I click on this video, again you can see.
So fun.
I'm just kidding. Tell us a little.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Amazing to see how integrated the media is in every edition, Paul. You do such great work here. But yeah, thank you for this has been a fun routine. My goodness, and to be able to see it in the magazine is extra special. That's so.
It's a
fun.
great. Let me just tell people, it's a great routine. I gave it a great review because I have seen it, and I'm making it up right now. It's so, you fooled me when you showed it to me. I had no idea because we all get these airlock bags. And obviously they're filled with air. You put a hole in it, and it's empty, like the air goes out of it. So when you you threw the object, and then I started playing around with things. You can put not just cards, obviously business cards, but if you do a coin thing, I was able to watch Jeff McBride's show the other night, and it's terrific, by the way. It's phenomenal. Actually, it's one of the best online shows I've ever seen.
I can't doubt it. Oh wow!
You should do a whole podcast just on that. But you can take. He does a coin routine, but for example, if you do a coin routine, you could throw a coin in there. So I likened it to like coin and bottle, but this is almost anything that you think you can throw in. Obviously, if not too heavy, a cell phone may not work. I haven't tried it, but might be too heavy for the bag. But anything, cards. It's just terrific. And then of course the fantastic thing is you can send it out. And that's something that Jeff did, and it's one of the things was the standout in his show was this coin routine, and then the most incredible moment was when there was I don't know how old she was, maybe 9 years old, and he put the coin in and was going to send it to her. So I think if you could send something out like you've done here, just terrific.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate the insight into Jeff's show. I can't imagine. I hope to see it myself one day.
I likened it to my first time at Disneyland. When I went through the Magical Kingdom, what he did was it was a moving show. It was a journey of Jeff's life from a kid right through to Vegas and all these different stories intertwined, magic, incredible. And to see Jeff do the card manipulations like this, but it was all intertwined, and then he did the bowl, the water bowl routine, and you got to see his facial expressions without the makeup. It was the masks, but just close up, and he took you on a journey through the mystery school, and the whole team did a phenomenal job. It was really great.
Oh, he's such a great storyteller. And
I think there's 8 shows. You have to look on the website, but I think it's got 8 shows coming up. So I'm going to review it in the next Vanish, but by then it'll be, I think it'll be over with, but it'll be.
What an incredible edition, Paul! You put so much work into each and every month. My goodness, this is so impressive.
Well, I enjoy doing it, and it's nice to give back to people, and this is the medium. We are looking at, we do printed magazines, as you know, but this is the digital's a medium. I mean, I look at it on my phone, the magazine, on the computer. So wherever I am, I now have access. The idea, and I do have printed magazines in the bookshelf that I print each edition, but I don't push it. But we are looking into the possibility of offering printed magazines at a much reasonable rate. At the moment, it's all on demand, so it's a little more expensive. But I am looking into printing them.
That sounds exciting, and if that's something listening, if that's something that interests you, make sure to reach out to Paul. Subscribe to the best magazine for magicians on the planet. My goodness, people can go to vanishmagic.com to subscribe. Paul, thank you so much for sharing a sneak peek at the May 2021 edition.
Thanks, Ryan. Cheers.